All right, everybody, welcome into a Tuesday morning Schmolke Investment Team LSU football practice report. Mike Scarborough, Buddy Songy here. Buddy and I basically did some Olympic speed walking this morning to find our way out to the outdoor practice fields, as little confusion for us getting here. Nicholson Drive backed up as usual, but we got it in, and there's only a few of these left. This morning, Thursday, and of course the spring game, 1 o'clock Saturday afternoon. Buddy, anything you noticed this morning?
Good morning, everybody. I tell you what, I'm getting a little older and hard to keep up with the walking, but we'll kind of give you a general overview today. And you're going to see some players and some numbers that you're not familiar with. We'll get into all of that. Punting is going to be an issue going into the fall camp. I don't know if they bring in a punter in the transfer portal or what, but they've got to get more consistency out of Peyton Todd and Badger Hargett. Of course, we also know Mike, the punter, generally holds on all kicks, and so this is a part of special teams. We hadn't talked about special teams, hadn't talked about who's going to be the punt returner or kick returner, so we'll broach on all those subjects early on Tuesday morning out at the Charlie Mack practice facility.
Yeah, we've seen a good bit of special teams when we've been out here. I don't know how close the competition is, like I said in the previous report, between Peyton Todd and Badger Hargett, but from the time that we're in there, it sure looks like it's pretty darn close. But maybe we're wrong, and one guy is way ahead of the other. Preston seems to think that because Peyton's a former linebacker, that he's got an advantage there because he can also make some sure tackles, whereas Badger Hargett, what do you think's the over-under on him, 5'7", 5'6"?
They're listing at 5'9" or 10, 185, 190. But look, if your punter's having to make tackles, then you got a problem. Jay Bramblett last year gave up less than 10 yards in returns, so you're trying to find somebody that can kick it up high. Pooch punted inside the 10 and obviously hang time, so we'll get into that. Oh, by the way, Nathan Dibert is still limited. He's got the sleeve on his right ankle and leg, so don't expect him to be kicking off. Aaron Burrell coming in the fall might have a chance to be your kickoff guy if he comes in here ready to go in the fall.
Most important thing of spring football is your injury situation. They've been darn lucky so far. Knock on wood if you got some near. Obviously you got Thursday practice and then the spring game Saturday, but LSU has been darn lucky so far. No catastrophic injuries, nobody missing from practice today. Of course, transfer portal's opening up, and we're going to see what happens there. LSU needs to have a little bit of attrition to probably get what they need, a little bit over. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens beyond the spring football game. But again, I think highly important today was, highly important through spring is the lack of injuries. Again, on special teams, towards the end when we were walking out, they were working on lining up for special teams punts, and they were really moving around and shifting and trying to get that right. A lot of fussing going on. But that's something that I think from day one that we've got out here in spring, there's a real sense of urgency on special teams, and at least while we've been allowed in at each practice, they spent a significant amount of time on that.
Hey, listen, folks, don't forget these things are like exhibitions. I'm not sure what the format will be, how he will break up the team. We'll get that when Coach Kelly meets with the media on Thursday. Of course, everybody knows all four starters coming back. DJ Chester, a seamless transition at center. Tiggy Hill and Bordelon are guys that can swing in and play outside. Mobinga, Cohen Eccles has been getting work at the backup O-line, but you still need some of those guys coming in the fall to get you too deep. Obviously, Mike, you've been watching the D-line, and other than Jacoby and Gilry, who would you say is the star on the D-line right now?
Maybe Macchianoli. Just by default. There's no bodies there. We know that's the position we got to fix. We live and learn, folks. Of course, we had no idea that we'd have blowers and weed eaters and everything else we've got going on behind us, but hopefully you can hear us okay. This practice report, of course, brought to you by the Schmolke Investment Team. What is something you could do with your money that would be meaningful to you? Do you have goals you want to reach? Do you feel like you need some guidance to realize those goals? At the Schmolke Investment Team, they help people set their goals and work toward them. They have over 50 years of experience doing just that. If you want to get serious about realizing your full financial potential, call them at 318-448-3201. That's 318-448-3201. Securities and advisory services offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor, member FINRA/SIPC, Versailles Boulevard in Alexandria. Nobody does it better than Bart and Brian Schmolke, 2 LSU grads, and fantastic folks. Let them help you get your future and your retirement future as bright as possible.
You know, we talk about and lament about the fact that there's not a lot of depth at D-tackle. There are a ton from the edge. Braden Swinson, I'm going to go ahead and predict right now he'll be at the top of the list for number of sacks. This guy, number 13, probably should have played more last year. Parashan also in that mix. Then you got Savion Jones. Relaford, 19, the kid that came over, decommitted from A&M, has done a good job this spring. Jackson Howard, number 11, you're going to love seeing him. And Deshaun Womack, yesterday, or actually Saturday, if you heard it, Coach Kelly actually kind of let it slip what that cheetah package is. Of course, that is your best pass rushers. Deshaun Womack on the outside, moving Swinson and Shan inside, and then putting Harold Perkins on the edge. That could be your cheetah package. Don't know how much they'll show on Saturday because there are spies, but they're going to get after the quarterback. We've been talking about a lot of young linebackers. What do you think? What are people expecting to see from Harold Perkins on Saturday?
Well, I think you're right, but obviously they want to make him a traditional inside linebacker. Can he make the move? Can Blake Baker get him where he needs to be? Obviously, he needs to learn that position to be what he wants to be in his bright future in the NFL. So, a whole lot of teaching going on. Some people are skeptical that he can get there. Some people think that he's got everything upstairs he needs to do to get there. I don't know. To me, it's a work in progress. I need to see it.
All right, a couple things on that defense. I'm concentrating more on defense. We'll give you some offensive tidbits at the end, but it's been the common theme that Major Burns and Sage Ryan are appreciably improved. Are you buying it?
I like Deshaun McBride,
but he hasn't played enough to be thrown out there early. But do you think Burns and Sage Ryan will be better this season?
I do. I think they're going to be in their more natural positions. You can't deny the maturity there. But boy, I think that position is loaded. Whether it's having your high-end guys that have been in the program and the newcomers, to me, it's going to be hard to keep Deshaun McBride off the field. He's special.
A lot of depth at safeties, and let's get into corners. I know that was the talk of the town on Saturday. P.J. Woodland is getting a lot of reps with the ones. Ashton Stamps, Javian Toviano. Of course, you know that J.K. Johnson has not been 100%. Jair Brown, both those two guys, Johnson and Brown, coming over from Ohio State. Jawan Johnson, you've seen this kid play. Does he have the ball skills to be thrown out there and be in the two deep at corner this fall?
Absolutely, but not being a midterm grad, I think, affects him. But he's absolutely going to be a big asset for LSU in the future. But look, let's see. We're seeing a lot of Woodland and Stamps. When does Alexander get out here?
Well, no, that would be in the fall. He's not.
Yeah, right.
But he'll probably be one of the starters. So.
Yeah, I mean.
Going to play more than two corners this year, folks.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's they've got some bodies there as well, but I'm less concerned about the safety position than I am corner.
Do not freak out if you see some big hookups because the wide receivers are loaded once again. You can start with the numerical roster, folks. Aaron Anderson, is this the year he shakes off the rust, puts that foot in the ground, boop, 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 like the Roadrunner, makes people miss and takes it to the house? Of course, we know Kyron Lacey. Is he the next great wide receiver with 1,000+ yards and double-digit touchdowns? C.J. Daniels coming over from Liberty. Shelton Sampson Jr. finally getting a shout-out from Joe Sloan last week at this time. Of course, we know 12 is going to be there. We know that obviously you're going to have 7. Xavier Thomas, you like him so far?
Yeah, I do. And I like what I've seen a little bit from Kyle Parker.
Kyle Parker's very solid.
I've been skeptical of Kyron Lacey. And from what I've seen this spring, I'm no longer skeptical.
There's one other wide receiver I'm looking at as I go through my notes here, but they are loaded at wide receiver.
CJ Daniels.
Look, they're going to play pitch and catch, and so a lot of these DBs are going to give up some plays. So do not freak out and go back to the mindset of last year's secondary. It's still very early and a work in progress, Mike.
All right. On the way out, Angelica Velez hit the portal for LSU women's basketball. That was one that I thought maybe could happen, but wasn't sure. Obviously came in close friends with Del Rosario, and she hits the portal. And so, how many does Gary Reedus and Kim Mulkey go for? 5, 6? That's going to be interesting. Big recruiting weekend. We're compiling a list for the spring football game. Going to be a who's who in Tiger Stadium on Saturday of recruits. Pay attention to TigerBait for that. LSU baseball. I don't know if you saw a post game Saturday night. I haven't seen Jay Johnson look like that. I'm not going to say it's aging him, but there's no doubt he was already a workaholic. He's probably burning midnight oil in even more and barely sleeping, trying to figure out what he can do to get this LSU baseball team right.
Hey, 2 other running backs that are going to get plenty of reps. Number 30 is Malachi Lane. He is a walk-on, but he's a good-looking kid, 6 foot, about 218. And Joseph Ebun, E-B-U-N, number 32. He's not the biggest of guys, 5'11", 195. Don't be shocked if 32 scores a touchdown in the spring game. Giving you a little tidbit here on a cloudy Tuesday morning out at the Ponderosa.
All right, that's it, unless you have something else you want to add.
We'll see what they're going to do with the actual game and what they're going to do. Usually running time in the second half. And I think Ricky Collins is probably a nudge ahead of A.J. Swan right now as the backup quarterbacks. I would imagine all 4 will get snaps on Saturday afternoon.
Player interviews today. Brian Kelly post-practice on Thursday. And we also get him post-scrimmage on Saturday. I don't believe we get players. I know we didn't get players last year. We just get BK after the spring game. So we'll have that all for you on TigerBait.com and a lot more. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this practice report, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, everybody.